Hi everyone, this is Killshot99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 10 finale discussion. Beta must kill Negan. I am going to make a strong argument tonight. I know you guys aren't going to agree with it, but it's okay. It's what we do. We want to have a little bit of dialogue around this, and I'm going to make some comparisons to some of the other characters in the past. We'll talk about some popular characters, and everybody will have a chance to kind of get their Walking Dead conversation on. Before we get into tonight's video, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon army. You can see them up there on the screen. What a great group of people. Our PDL sponsors as well. And hopefully you guys are having a very nice week and a very safe week as well. So it's like, here we go. Who wants to fight? Who wants to fight about this topic? Go ahead. I'm used to it. I get I get brawls almost every stream that we do. So look, the Negan story is important. But we have to separate popularity of character at its current state with how long a character really should be on the show in order to get their story told before it starts to dry up a little bit and become second nature. And just because we like a character doesn't mean the character is always perfect for the story. So think about this. This is what we've been through, this roller coaster. And I'll give you another example. There's a few characters been there. Tara, right? Tara, we liked her. We didn't like her. We didn't kind of know how this was going to go. Morgan went back and forth. Father Gabriel, same thing. One could almost Carol, maybe a little bit to a degree. And I'm not saying The Walking Dead is going to kill off all its major players. What I'm saying is that the story likely makes sense for something big to happen. See, The Walking Dead used to have the guts to do this. And I don't know that they'll have the guts to do it, but I do think that it's a must to keep the fans interested in the story. We get so immersed in the characters. So, just a quick show of hands. How many people here are just super excited to see Negan's next episode? You just can't wait to see it. And I'm going to say admittedly, I'm not one of those. I like him, but I'm just not raring to see what Negan's going to say next. It's not like Abraham. What big thing is Negan going to do? And we've already went back and forth on him, whether he redeemed, what his storyline's going to be. He already got the alpha kill. So it doesn't seem likely that he's going to get the beta kill as well. And in fact, doesn't it seem, so where's what makes Negan deserve the beta kill? He's already done what he needs to do. Unless, I would argue The Walking Dead needs to do something risky. It needs to do something creative. It needs to be The Walking Dead again. So, let me give you this example. Is this beta march important? Do you guys think this is a big, big point in the show? Alpha's dead. Beta gathers the troops. And now he's storming in for a big, epic showdown. Would you agree that that's a big part of the story? This is the season finale, right? So here's Beta with all these walkers. They're moving along. And then they get them all pinned in. And what do you guys think is going to happen? You think that we're going to go through a couple close calls? Okay, you're saying it's important. So does it make sense for Beta to have this epic march and then a few close encounters happen and then Negan comes out, gets the big kill? Yeah, look, our team won. This whole Beta thing, this march all the way down to Alexandria was all for nothing. See, I don't think so. I think you got to have some substance to this. So, Animal says, I don't think Negan's story's ended. In fact, I think it's just only begun. Oh, man. Animal, I don't know. I don't know if I can stomach the redemption of Negan again. We've kind of already seen that. So, there's certain checkpoints that things have to happen. And if it's not big, look, Fear the Walking Dead's a prime example. What was the relevance of Fear the Walking Dead getting to that ranch? I mean, that was a big deal, right? For like 4 episodes, they built this up, and they finally get to the ranch. Now, one would think in Fear the Walking Dead that it was kind of their last stand, right? That they were going to defend the ranch and all this bad stuff happened. But there was no relevance to them being at the ranch. They just got captured. And none of us liked that. In fact, all of us thought it was boring and lazy, and it did nothing for the Fear the Walking Dead story. So I would argue that the Whispers are supposed to be this badass group of people. They've been bad the whole time. They killed Jesus. Then they snuck in and they took some people and they decapitated some people. And then they stormed Hilltop. And then Negan takes out Alpha, and we get Beta listening to old country songs and getting all fired up and worked up, and now he's got this epic march on Alexandria. And then he gets there, and many of you are saying, no, we need Negan to kill Beta. Or what? I mean, then basically the last 3 episodes were for nothing. The wrath of Beta can't be, I go to a place where Negan kills me. The wrath of Beta should be some actual wrath. So, who are the casualties? Clearly, we have to have some casualties. So, if Negan's not going to die at the hands of Beta, who is? Well, see, Dimes, it was dark, but he's just going to run into a dead end. Negan, go ahead. I agree with that. All right, so Bone says Negan could give his life for the group. I agree, and I think that's a strong story. So, if Beta walks 10 miles to get to Alexandria and he just gets killed, that's going to be like going to Taco Bell at 3 a.m. to get a chalupa and finding out they're closed. It's going to be very, very unsatisfying. And it's going to start to show that The Walking Dead doesn't have that high drama, doesn't have that wherewithal, doesn't have what it takes to push the story, which is almost what Fear is doing at this point. They can't kill John, they can't kill Dwight, they can't kill Morgan. So, does Beta go there and kill Father G? If you're not going to kill Negan, you got to give me a Rosita, an Aaron, and an Alden. If I'm going to let them slide on the whole Negan deal and keep Negan alive, you got to give me 3 other big ones. Otherwise, we're going to be talking about the finale and talking about Maggie coming back. So let me go back to kind of Bones' point just a minute ago. I see some substance. I see some I see some pop if Negan dies for the group. I see some sympathy. I see full redemption. But if he doesn't die for the group, and you know what? I think by and large, one, it lets Jeffrey Dean Morgan go off and start acting again, movies, other projects, which is not a bad thing for actors. Sometimes people want to leave before their story just hits a dead end. But I could see a little bit of sorrow and a little bit of redemption in that sorrow where you're on the fence with Negan. Otherwise, I think they fear or risk, maybe not fear, maybe they risk Rosita, part 2. Okay. How many people are super excited? You can't wait to see what Rosita's going to do in the finale. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if like all you've been talking about for the last 2 months is, man, I can't wait. Rosita's going to do something big. She's a badass right now. Said nobody. Nobody's saying that. Nobody cares what Rosita's doing right now. Right, Ben? Ben, how many conversations have you and I had over what Rosita's going to do next? About 0. And you know why? Because they've kept this Rosita thing going on too long. Got to give her an exit before. All right, let's do this, okay? Paycheck aside. Let's not talk about the paycheck. I don't want to hear, hey, I'd like to do an extra 4 or 5 episodes because I want to make $200K per episode. Let's put the episodes aside. If you are an actor on The Walking Dead, do you A, want to die when people give a damn about you, or just kind of fizzle in the background and get some half-hearted story and then die when they don't have anything else for you to do? Rosita, Tara. I would argue, as much as I didn't like the Glenn thing, Glenn was probably cool with it. So if you're Jeffrey Dean Morgan, this is kind of your deal, right? I mean, wouldn't this be, if you guys could do me a favor, just take your personal emotion for Negan and put it to the side for a second. If you're Jeffrey Dean Morgan, wouldn't it be kind of cool to die for the group? That maybe he saves Judith, or maybe he saves Daryl, maybe he saves, oh boy, what if Negan, what if Maggie showed up and Negan actually died saving Maggie? Would that not be a cool deal there? It would certainly erase a lot of the awkwardness that they're going to run into in the future if he doesn't die. Now, I'm not saying that can't happen later. It can. But if it was going to happen later, why not just make it happen now? See, when I enjoyed The Walking Dead, like at its height, like really, really, is when The Walking Dead could leave me a little confused and feeling a little bit empty, right? Herschel. Beth. Dale. Shane to a degree. As much as Shane turned into a villain, there was still some sadness in the Shane death. So, how long has it been since you guys felt that feeling of loss from The Walking Dead? I would argue you didn't feel it with Jesus. I would argue you didn't feel it with Carl because you're so frustrated at the lameness of which they did it. So, when's the last time we felt The Walking Dead? Abe? You know, I see a couple people saying Rick's departure, and for some that's true. But for others, it's not true with Rick because we were so anxious we were going to get the movie. You know, and there's part of me that thinks that Jeffrey Dean Morgan would be a nice addition to the movies. But then I think, how's that even going to go down? And is it even important that Rick ever see Negan again? Right? I mean, I'm thinking Rick needs to see Michonne. Rick needs to see Daryl. Rick needs to see Judith and RJ. Rick could even see Morgan. Negan is way, way down on the list of people that I think Rick needs to see, to be perfectly honest with you. If Daryl, Michonne, Morgan, Judith, RJ, and Negan all walked up to Rick, I don't see Rick going up and giving him the big bro hug. In fact, I think I don't ever see a situation where that goes down. So I'm struggling with, and more now than ever, I'm struggling with Negan's place in the story. I want to see it. I want to see it through the same lens as many of you. I just don't. And it seems like it's so much effort to transition him into this group or into this Maggie situation or putting him into the hunt to find Rick. Not impossible, but certainly a challenge. Because the only person that likes him is Judith. Nobody else likes him. Even Aaron, who pretty much likes almost anybody, despised Negan. Well, see, this is funny because Maggie Beam brought up, she says, if he cared for Judith and RJ, if something happens. But see, Maggie, he's already done that. And it got no recognition whatsoever. So Christmas Girl says the death has to have an impact on the group. I agree with that. I mean, how many people remember Negan going out in the cold and saving Judith and saving Dog? He already did it. Negan has done everything humanly possible in a story. He's started out the bad guy. And by bad guy, I mean he was taking half of people's stuff. I know some of you guys are going to turn it around and say, he wasn't really the bad guy. If you were Savior from day one, yeah, you would see it through a different, whatever. That's fine. But regardless if you're a Savior from day number one, you were still taking half of people's stuff, right? So he did that. And then, he lost some of his. He took a few. He does his brutal execution. He wants to ramp up. He's looking the other way. Let me also see what you guys think about this. Christmas Girl says Negan dying would not. Well, hold tight with that. How many people? Hey, I love all the good stuff. Hey, Negan did this, he did that, whatever. How do you guys feel about Simon? How do you guys feel about what Simon did to Oceanside? I mean, one could argue that what Simon did to Oceanside was perhaps the most brutal act we've never seen on The Walking Dead. Would you agree with that? He killed all the men. All the men of Oceanside. Bone says Simon was evil. Deadly Dime says Simon was evil. So we can agree with that. So then what's your feeling about enablers? How do you feel about Simon being evil, but yet Negan just brought him in and made him his right-hand man? Did we forget about that? Negan didn't kill Simon till later. He accepted him after he killed all the men of Oceanside, and he let him be a Sharpie man. Simon was the Sharpie man before Fear got the Sharpie woman. And the night that Negan was going to kill Glenn and Abraham, he was bragging about how Simon was his right-hand man. The same Simon who had murdered all those people from Oceanside. So Negan is not a dumb guy. So who's more evil, Simon or Negan? They're the same. There's no difference. There's no difference between the person who did it and the person who just accepts them with open arms and lets them continue to terrorize on his behalf. And Negan even told Simon, he said, "Are we backsliding again?" No, it was Oceanside, animal. Simon's initial kill were all the men of Oceanside. Negan didn't react to it until it was the scavenger people. But Negan knew Simon's history, and he allowed him to be a part of that. So my point to this is, Negan's done it all. At face value, he took half of people's stuff. He set up outpost. Now you can say that, well, Rick's people killed people at the outpost. Yeah, those were the same outpost that were responsible for going out, getting the stuff, and bringing it back and protecting Negan. So those guys weren't choir boys. In addition to, how about what he did to Kingdom? Do you guys remember Ezekiel and Richard when they'd have to load up the watermelons on the back, drive them up, and the standoffs they would have, those are people that reported to Negan. So Negan had Simon going out to collect. He had all these people hitting different communities. And you know what Negan was doing? Why all this was going on? Why all these people were going out bringing his food? What Negan was doing? Sherry. That's what he was doing. Taking the wives of other men and burning doctors with irons. So we've lived through all of that. And now we want to release Ted Bundy into the community. Because apparently we're just enamored and so impressed by serial killers. But okay, 7 years, he's reformed. He helped a little girl. Saved her from the cold, so he has a heart. I don't disagree with you. Redeemed. Good. I'm fine with it. Redeemed. Stamp it. You have paid your debt to society, Negan. I'm fine with it. But isn't it a little bit like a car whose battery's dead and you're just trying to charge it a little bit more and a little bit more? I mean, doesn't it feel a little bit like we're trying to squeeze the Negan lemon a little bit too much? I mean, how much more can the show get out of him? He's done it all. Well, okay, here's fine. This is fine, okay? If he's not redeemed to you at this point, is it a fair argument to say he will never be redeemed? Would you agree that there's nothing else he can do to raise his status? You're either okay with him at this point or you're not. Would you agree with that? Because I can't think of anything else that he needs to do or he can do that's going to change my opinion of him anymore. He saved a dog. I mean, come on. That is the peak of redemption. You save a puppy out in the snow, that's legendary. So I'm glad we pretty much agree with that, right? Perfect. Most everybody's saying you have pretty much made your Negan bed, so it's time to lay in it. We are where we are with Negan. We've seen the worst of Negan, and now we see somebody who killed Alpha, who saved Judith, who saved Dog. He seems to for the most part, be interested in the right thing. He hasn't met up with Maggie lately. So it gets to my next point. Do we have to give him that story? And look, it's semantics. At this point, I don't care if he's redeemed or not redeemed. However you want to label it, which makes you comfortable with it, you go with it. Redemption, forgiven, fine. We'll use whatever word. My point is, I think he's where he's going to be with most of us. So Anthony says, what about Carol burning the ex-saviors in their sleep? Is that not evil? No, it's Carol. Of course it's evil. Now you do know they took her ring, right? They took her stuff, Anthony. That was a big deal. And so Kimberly G, I think you bring up a good point. She said, I clapped when Carol burned the Savior. So we're kind of, well, see, Christmas Girl, here's where I would kind of differentiate between the two words. Redemption, to me, is from a viewer perspective. Forgiveness, I think, is from a character perspective. I've got nothing to forgive Negan for because I have no personal attachment. Redemption is the redeeming quality that we would accept him. So I think there's characters who would forgive and viewers who would see him as a redeemed character. And that's why I said, I don't think it really matters how you label it. It's going to boil down to whether you're okay with this dude having an arc or you're not okay with him having an arc. You need to see more of his story, or you're willing to pan through more of the story, or you're not willing. That you figure it's done and it's time to move on from it. Because what a lot of you guys are telling me, Negan could do this, Negan could do that, I would argue, well, some of those stories should probably be reserved for other characters who actually have either not experienced it or deserve that storyline. Certainly, we could all say, hey, let's send Negan to the movie and have him help find Rick. Okay, well, why don't we send Ezekiel? Or why don't we send Daryl? Or why don't we have somebody else that makes a little bit more sense? No, Bob, I agree. Well, see, Bob, for me, you're right. I would never forgive him because of the method of which he did certain things. I just wouldn't. And I think most people would not, if Abraham was their brother or if Glenn was their cousin, I don't think they would either. But certainly there's a different mechanic in the movies and in television that we put on a leather jacket and do a couple Fonzie lines and make a couple jokes, and all of a sudden it's a different situation. Now, I don't think anybody here would personally forgive someone who did that to their husband, cousin, brother, etc. So Amanda says, It's killing wanting to know who's under the mask. With whom? Elaborate on that a little bit more for me. Question kills. If Maggie ends up forgiving Negan, would you find it easier to accept his character? So, no. Not at all. And Dimes, I think this is kind of the point. There's nothing more that I need to see from Negan in order to understand who Negan is or what his value is. And let me go back to say, I made the case a year ago that the group would need Negan because of what they were fighting. You guys remember that? Hopefully you remember that, because a lot of times when we do a video, a couple of people will zoom just in on the topic and they think that that's my only perspective of the topic, which it's clearly not. I was at the forefront saying Negan will serve a purpose with the group, with the Whispers. And he did. That's not pro-Negan, anti-Negan. Negan, to me, was more trustworthy than Alpha, more trustworthy than Beta, more trustworthy than a lot of people. And as long as Judith was in the equation, now, I got to be real with you guys for a minute. I don't care how you slice it. I don't like what they did trapping them at Hilltop, and I don't like them shooting arrows at little kids. You can tell me whatever you want to say and say, oh, he missed on purpose. Look, that was some dangerous stuff going on there. It was only by luck that Judith didn't die in that. So you can tell me all you want about how Negan protected Judith, but he was also standing side by side with Alpha when they were shooting arrows at Hilltop with the kids there. And again, complicit. Just like Simon. Negan was not... So Negan wasn't standing there watching every Alpha arrow. You know, it's not like he's like, oh boy, okay. If she aims at Alpha, I'm going to tackle her to keep that from happening. He's just like, he's just going along with it, hoping nothing bad happens. So he still had a play. He still had an angle. In fact, one could argue Negan was more worried about what Alpha was going to do to Lydia than what Alpha was going to do to Judith and Daryl and the rest of them. So, I'm never going to sit here and give you put the wings on Negan and he deserves all of these things. I don't think, now, once again, I'll tell you, the question came up, if Maggie forgave him, would that change my perspective? No. It would change maybe Maggie's perspective. And, Dimes, I will say this. If they don't kill him, I think she has to forgive him or exile him. So I see three different potential Negan stories. One, kill him and let him die a semi-understood, misunderstood character who just ran out of story. Okay, there's one option. And Beta could serve that purpose. Number two, have Maggie forgive him and have him always be the sarcastic, condescending thorn in her side. Even though she forgave him, he's always just going to throw something back up and then leave her to wonder why she ever let him live in the first place. Or, that's number 2. Or number 3, there ain't no way in hell Maggie's going to be anywhere near Negan. He needs to be exiled and go do something else. Spin-off, whatever the case may be. Now, maybe there's your Negan story. I don't know it'd be any better than Fear the Walking Dead, to be honest with you. I know Negan's a bigger name, but I don't know. I don't know that Negan could survive on his own. Amanda says, I was talking about the him-her that showed up while Aaron and Alden was getting attacked by the Whispers. Yeah, and I'm as anxious to see how that is going to show up in the finale as well. And again, I don't disagree with that, Dimes. So Jim says maybe he'll go away for a season, be exhumed, and then come back season 12. Yeah, and a lot of what you guys are typing I agree with. Christmas Girl, Negan is self-serving. But, if we disavowed everybody or cast out everybody who was self-serving, it'd be pretty small group in the world, right? Because there's a lot that are self-serving. And I don't have any issue with him being self-serving unless it's a facade. I mean, when he does it to a point where it tricks us or endangers somebody else in the group, well, then it becomes a character flaw, in my opinion. But, and you're right, Crystal Newfield said, Kills, are you going to switch this around? I might switch it around on you. I've been known to do that a couple times. But I think the key is getting back to what is a satisfying death? Now, the only thing to me that would be more satisfying than Beta killing Negan would be, Negan walking up to Rick in the movie and Rick shooting him immediately and saying, not today, not tomorrow, but I told you I was going to kill you. Boom. That would be about as epic send-off as you could possibly get. But I don't have the patience for that. And I really think the commitment to bring Maggie back created a super challenging issue for the group. Or going out a hero. But see, Dimes, Amy, a couple of you guys who are kind of, debating how this would go down. Can Negan be a hero? The water is so muddied with him. What does true heroism, what would escalate Negan to hero at this point in anybody's mind? As I said, to me the verdict is out. I can't. It was just yesterday he killed Alpha. Come on, guys. We're not talking about a year, 6 months from now. What can he do at this point that's just going to say, you know, Dimes, the problem putting others before himself, he's already done that. Sporadically, not consistently. It's not who he is, and he didn't kill Alpha 6 months ago. He just killed her a couple days ago. Not a lot of time. I mean, he is who he is. And when we start talking about the type of death that characters deserve, there's a reason why we're talking about that, and that's because we don't see a huge, huge story for them. Wouldn't it have been a much easier transition? Look, we know Negan is conflicted, right? We know he's self-serving. We know he struggles. So if you were going to show him putting others before himself, don't you think we could have done that the last 6 episodes? Do we need to see him live another season in order to come full circle? That's the point I'm getting at with you guys. It's like when you get attached to a character, it's almost like biting into a piece of licorice. And you just want another bite and another bite. And you want more and more and more and more. I don't know that Negan deserves more, would be my argument. What more do you need other than the fact you just like him and you just have to have him being attached to the show, even though there really is not a lot for him to do? Well, Christmas Girl, that goes back to my previous point. If he leaves to help look for Michonne, I mean, yeah, he's got a quest. He's got something he can do. But just yesterday, we didn't trust him because he was shooting arrows at Hilltop. So now, all of a sudden, 2 days later, he's got a genuine conscience, and he's not selfish Negan anymore. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've got 7 years worth of data on this guy. I'm not sure what he can do at a moment of desperation to do anything more than say, okay, he died doing something meaningful. My challenge with this is, and please write this down, mark it down, big bold letters. If Negan is around and he is needling at Maggie the slightest bit after bashing her husband's head in and she forgave him, if they even touch on that story and have a condescending, sarcastic, pain-in-the-ass Negan that just wants to crack a joke, it is going to be worse than the Morgan interviews. It is going to be as unbearably hard to watch him trying to conform to something normal. He may not be meant for this type of situation. His comic relief is not always appropriate. And I think it's going to become tired. And I think it's going to be, we've seen this before. We saw it in the cabin. We see that he can't get over it. I don't know that that's a story that needs to be told. I feel like that is I feel like it's a risk and a dead end. So, now if you're going to tell me, how many people here see a world in which Negan doesn't crack jokes, doesn't belittle people, is not selfish, that he becomes just a normal, run-of-the-mill character? Because I don't know how that's going to go. And if you're Negan, do you really want to be boring Negan next season? Is that the type of story you want after being like this feared badass the whole time? And now you can't be you anymore? Yeah, I mean, do you see the conundrum we're in? I mean, we got a problem. Exactly. Bones, if he knew 100% he was going to die helping the group, have him lead the zombies away. Sure. Now, I feel like that's going to be Rosita's thing, because I think Rosita's got to go too. But see, that's the beauty of The Walking Dead. When The Walking Dead just kind of killed people, we didn't have like 50 people that we felt like had to be a part of the story. Negan death would not have a lasting impact. You know what? Christmas Girl, I disagree. I think if you kill Negan very soon, when it's unexpected, I think it would definitely have a lasting impact. But there's so many different forces right now, I think the longer you keep him around, it's going to be harder to find something of value. Are we going to keep him around long enough that we think all the fans are going to care about him enough that when we kill him, they're going to miss him? And that's the dynamic that I don't see. I think you're pretty much where you are with him. Save a couple, he saved a dog, saved some kittens. Maybe I'll like him just a slight bit more. Well, see, Mr. Midnight, here's the thing. We speculate what a character's death will have on the fan base. You know, the people said, if Rick leaves the show, I'm not going to watch. If Daryl dies, if Michonne ever leaves, I'm going to quit watching the show. If they kill Abraham, I'm going to riot. We don't get what we want. If the story is good, people will watch. That's the reality. Having a bunch of people on the show does not make the story good. This is the part that I really want to drill down and argue. So Christmas Girl, on the characters or the fans? I think both. I think that I would argue it would have a lasting impact on the characters if he did something semi-heroic, and the fans if you don't wait 6 more seasons to kill him. Because I don't think he's going to ingratiate himself. I don't think everybody's just going to love him all of a sudden. Which kind of gets me back to, I feel like we're where we are with Negan. And as much as some people say, I only tune in because of this, I only tune in for this person, I think we know for the most part I don't disagree with that, Mr. Midnight. In fact, I fully agree with that. AMC should care about ratings over the story. But keeping a watered down Negan on the show does not equal ratings. Okay, let me give you this example. Okay? How many characters you think we have on the show? But 60 maybe, give or take. Let's say 60. So, out of those 60 characters, how many characters would you consider top tier characters? Maybe somewhere between 15 and 20 characters that we have some interest in. Now, granted, you're going to like some more than others. Daryl, Carol, Judith, Negan, Eugene, Gabriel, Rosita, Yumi. I mean, look, we can probably really come up with 15. Aaron, we can come up with 15 or 20 characters. 5. Come on, guys, really? 5? So you're saying nobody else on the show has any relevance other than Daryl, Carol, Negan, Judith, Rosie. Come on. There's at least 15 that I could throw a name out there that people are going to say, that character's pretty good. I wouldn't want to see them. So, a typical show is about 40 minutes. So when you start getting into 15, 20 characters, it's only a couple minutes per person. Can we agree that some people deserve more airtime than other people? Like Daryl, we probably want to see a little bit more of Daryl than we do of Eugene. When Carol's kind of in her groove, we probably want to see a little bit more of Carol than we do of other characters. Okay, so for those of you that picked 4 or 5, so you could really sit around and watch, this ain't Twilight, you could sit around and watch like 4 people for an hour. I don't think so. I think that would get old real quick. Maybe half a season. But there's some balance, right? I think 5 to 6 minutes of Daryl is probably okay. You start getting into 25, 30 minutes of Daryl, it's going to be like that Morgan episode with Eastman. It's going to wear on you quick. But at the same time, you can't have 60 people. You got to cycle some people in and cycle some people out. I mean, Alpha probably did us the biggest favor, if you think about it. Alpha was responsible for, indirectly, the Sadiq death. She got DJ. She got Henry. She got Enid. She got Tara. Alpha had some She cut the payroll big time. Alpha is probably like, your people are eating up our budget. Norman needs more money. Something like that, right? I mean, Alpha just gave Norman Reedus a pay raise. Because, seriously, it was like $100,000 worth of payroll. Boom. A couple pikes. Now, I don't know that we need to go straight alpha mode, but we certainly have some opportunity. Now, there's a whole lot of things that I think would turn the story up, that would turn the heat up. And to get back to the theme of this, I think a Beta killing Negan in some regard would add value to Beta's march. It would close out the Negan story. He's done everything. It would leave the viewers, many of us, feeling a little bit unsatisfied and confused about the Negan character, and I'm okay with that. I would much rather feel a little bit of loss with Negan than go through a tit for tat with Maggie and Negan. I'd rather Negan's story be a little incomplete than to take the risk of watering it down to a point where Negan is like Rosita right now, is like Tara was before, is like Morgan was before they moved Morgan. Now, if they could jumpstart Negan by moving him in some way, I'm all for it. But if you're going to say that this finale is big, and it should be, I don't know that killing Alden is a story. I don't know that killing Father Gabriel is a story. Beta exacting, why would Beta kill Negan? Why would it be so perfect? Because Negan is the one that killed Alpha. So, a degree of revenge before Daryl kills Beta, I think, to me, is very satisfying. And as much as many of you are going to disagree, well, you know what? I'm not going to say you'll disagree. I'm going to ask this question. Has Beta done anything? Big scary Beta. Has Beta done anything? Anything of relevance? Anything to really, really make you remember him and to fear him? I mean, we talk about Negan's legacy, and we talk about Alpha's legacy. Let's talk about Beta's legacy for a minute. Big, scary Beta. Nothing. Nothing. Don't you think that the number 2 man in the Whispers deserves something? Some type of revenge storyline? I mean, look. He stormed into Alexandria. I give him that. They tried. They tried to make him, he had that one episode where he was in there and, going after Lydia. But not the epic alpha moment. But see, I like that too, Star Guitar Goddess. How cool would it be if Beta killed Negan for killing Alpha, and Judith, the only person that cares about Negan, if Judith killed Beta? Now see, I think that is a story and a legacy worth itself. Might not be the best thing for the people who love Negan's witty comments and his character. And as an actor, I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. But I think that would bring some closure. Exactly. Oh, with Rick's gun. And you know what? I also think it would give you just enough feeling for the Negan-Judith relationship to make you feel a little bit empty, right? A little bit of emptiness, to me, would be just enough to carry the story on. We go forward with Maggie and Daryl. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Hey, everybody, I want to say thank you. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Yeah, we do get a couple people that come in and dislike our conversation. That's all good. But you guys do me a favor. If you guys like hanging out with us talking about The Walking Dead, we throw some strange topics out there. We're not afraid to tackle things. Do I think Beta will kill Negan? Flip a coin. If I had to lean toward it, I'd say The Walking Dead probably does not have the full courage to pull it off. I would love to see it. I'd love to see it in that regard. For me, I think it's a must. It would bring a lot of closure. I would be very excited about it. But we'll have to wait and see. Rumor is we might not. I don't want to confirm this or say I've heard November 1st as a release date. I hope that's wrong. We're going to find out tomorrow. But I'm still going with after Labor Day. I still feel like it's going to be in September, but there's a couple people that have been circulating news that it'll be in November. So we shall see, everybody. Hey, thanks for everything that you guys do. As I said, if you guys had a good time, give this video a thumbs up. Special shout out to my moderators, Kel, Amy, Tommy the Tank, Julia Muse, and also Ben. Thank you for everything that you guys do. Shout out to the Patreon. You guys can see them in the upper left-hand corner. If you guys want to be a Patreon, there's a link down below. Patreon sponsors, top right-hand corner. You guys get a nice Patreon pack. It's going to be mailed out in about a week. Some cool 999 stuff and some Play Dead Live stuff. And, of course, our green team right there. Thanks to the green team. We got some members, been members of this channel for over a couple years. So appreciate everything that you guys do. Also, all of our super chatters that jump in there and spice up the conversation as well. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate everything that you guys do. And last and certainly not least, everybody do me a favor. If you're not familiar with our channel, subscribe and type a quick 999 so I can get, that's a good point. You know what, Christmas girl? If it's November, I'm right. That's great. Thank you. All right, Northside Queen, thank you so much for being here. Samantha Coombs, appreciate you as always. KCF, thanks for being here. Absolutely. Let's get a whole lot of 999s out there, everybody. And I can't wait for the show to kick off so we can get everybody together a little bit more often. But you know what? At least if I get to see you guys for a week, that's better than nothing. Father Ron, thank you so much for being here. Rebecca Mendez. Rebecca's been here for a long time, too. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Mr. Midnight, appreciate your chat. Great thoughts tonight. Certainly, we welcome all debate. Respectful debate is always welcome here. Sometimes I'll give you guys a little bit of pushback, but I certainly love when you guys take the gloves off and bring it. Coma Drug, thank you so much. Ouchie, appreciate you. Amanda Tomlin. Maggie B. Bob D, thank you so much. Star Guitar Goddess. Miss the Ninja. Diana C. Harold Evans, thank you so much. Janie Fogel, thank you. Christmas Girl, thank you. Wow, we got a lot of 999s. You guys are tricking me. You're making me say it multiple times. B-Dub, I see you. Jim Stone as well. Busy B. Crystal Newfield. Also, big shout out to all of our Play Dead Live players. You guys don't know what Play Dead Live is all about. Tomorrow night, we finish out Salisbury Island. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, to all of our PvP players, special shout out to our Final Four. B-Dub, Amanda, Jim Stone, and Julia Muse. Great PvP action the other night. Phenomenal PvP. And we're going to start our Faction Wars Monday night. So if you guys want to hang out with us on Monday as well, we're going to have like some 4 versus 4 real-time PvP. So it should be a lot of fun. We got, I think we got Mir and Vox squaring off on Monday night. So Football Master, I see you. Thank you. Big Tree, good to see you as well. Rocket Crockett, I see you up there, Rocket. Almost missed you. Hippo in the house. Robin Vance, good to see you. All right. I think I read some people like 5 times, but if I missed you for whatever reason, you can blame the people that typed it 10 times. So don't blame me. You guys have a great night. I'll see you guys either Friday night or Saturday or Monday or next week. Subscribe and then hit that little bell, and then you know we're streaming live. I'll see you guys later. Thanks again. Peace.